Ja, herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe SI Talk. Und bei mir wir waren sich jetzt nicht ganz sicher, ob ich ein Interview schon mal gemacht habe. Wann, dann ist es Jahre aus, aber wir sprechen jetzt eigentlich von einer neuen Firma, und zwar Calibre Mining. Die werden momentan auch jetzt geholtet, also handeln nicht. Warum? Weil sie einen irrsinnig großen Deal gemacht haben mit B2Gold. Erstens mal soll er uns jetzt einmal den Deal erklären, und zweitens einmal wird es natürlich extrem spannend, was er meint, wie die Aktie ungefähr laufen sollte. Ryan, thank you to have time for me. I say it in a German introduction. The company is holded. You have now, we must say, really a new story here. The reason is simple. You make a big deal with B2Gold. Now you are in the, last press release, I think it was, that you closed the financing over 105 million.
Correct, yeah.
So the deal from the financial standpoint, you raise all the money, is done. So, but for me as a viewer, I must always say, why B2Gold make this deal? For me, look.
Sure, yeah, no, that's a great question. That's a great question. And you know, from our perspective, we've been working on this for a couple of years.
Okay.
So Calibre has been an exploration company in Central America, in Nicaragua, for the last 10 years. Exploring, we've had partners over the years. IAMGold is actually a joint venture partner of ours on one of our concessions. And so finally, we came to a point with B2Gold where they realized, because of our experience in the country and because of our team, they saw an opportunity to do a deal with Calibre. Now, these two assets started B2Gold. So back in 2009, they took over a company called Central Sun. They then invested a lot of capital into the Libertad mine and mill to expand it, and then put an actual mill in place as it was, heap leach. And so that was what got them up and going. It was 100% of their focus. They were a producing company. 2009, 2010, 2011. 2013 was a transformational year, I think, for B2. They transformed and they acquired the Otjikoto project in Namibia. They started to build that and advance that towards construction and an operation. And then they acquired the Fekola project in Mali and started to drill that and advance that towards feasibility study and construction. And so over the years, the Nicaraguan assets, although they're very important to B2Gold, they've become a smaller portion of their overall company's net asset value. I think today it's probably, in most analysts' view, for B2, under 5% of their net asset value. And I believe it probably represents less than 8% of their production. Okay, so for them, it's time, their management's time, it's human capital, it's capital going into different assets, and there's a hierarchy. There's a, where do we allocate capital? So I can't necessarily speak to why B2, but I think at the end of the day, this deal is a tremendous win-win for both B2Gold and for Calibre. So Calibre is now acquiring these two producing assets, and really we're joining forces with B2. We're going to have one B2 representative sitting on the board. We're going to have an advisory board with B2, so they're going to be very involved in the assets and the company.
And they have still then also up to 31% of the company.
Exactly. It's a very important point, because really how we look at it, and I believe how B2Gold would look at it, is they're not selling the assets. They're really partnering and joining forces with Calibre. So yes, we're paying some cash, and we're paying a significant portion in shares. They're going to end up owning 31% of Calibre Mining going forward. I think they view the assets as having good upside potential in terms of exploration, in terms of optimization at the mines. I mean, look, B2Gold are some of the best operators, constructors, on time and on budget in the world. But they have a $4.5 billion market capitalization, whereas Calibre smaller company, starting out, acquiring production, 100% of our focus will be these two assets. Ensuring that we deliver on our forecasts, ensuring that we put our capital into these assets to expand mine life, to make new discoveries. And I think that's a big part of why B2Gold decided to not sell the assets, but partner with Calibre, take a large equity position to ensure that these assets are so important to them that they're going to the right team with a track record, but also significant experience in the country.
You raise now 105 million. I think in the deal you pay B2Gold 40
US, yeah.
Yeah. 40 US. Okay, what you're doing with the rest of around rough 40 to 50 million?
Yeah, good question. So at the end of the transaction, so the timeline looks like this. We're going to have a special shareholder meeting October the 8th, next week. Upon approval of all the resolutions at that meeting, we then close the transaction with B2Gold October the 15th. We're migrating and graduating from the TSX Venture to the TSX. That'll take a couple of days. So we anticipate that we'll be up and trading October 21st or 22nd under CXB on the TSX. So the deal was that we pay B2Gold 40 million US upfront in cash, 40 million US in Calibre shares. We'll have a $10 million anniversary payment, October the 15th, 2020. And then we have a $10 million convertible debenture with B2Gold, which they can convert at 75 cents within that 2-year time frame, and we can force convert at 81 cents. So additional upside in terms of equity for B2Gold. So the question was, what are we going to be doing with the excess capital that we've raised? So we raised a total of 105 million Canadian, 5 million oversubscribed over the initial 100 we went out to do. And what that gives us is, at the end of the day, when we close the deal, roughly about 40 million Canadian left over after fees and transaction fees, etc. So the focus for us is ensuring that we can properly allocate that to these assets so that we see an increase in value. So today, I think the consensus net asset value that we paid for the assets is roughly about 0.5, 0.6 times NAV. Okay, so we see incredible exploration, near mine exploration opportunities at La Libertad, which has a 2.2 million ton per year mill. Excellent facility. B2Gold has done an excellent job of maintaining a great facility there. Good mines, excellent operations. And we see tremendous additional exploration upside all around these mines. La Libertad, El Limon, this year, according to B2Gold, their guidance is 55 to 60,000 ounces of production 2019, so a total of 150 to 160,000 ounces for 2019. At El Limon, they made a new discovery a few years back. And that discovery is now starting to be mined. So historically, El Limon has been a predominantly underground, blended with some lower grade open pit material. Now we're transitioning. So the mine is transitioning to be more open pit, high grade open pit. So they made this new discovery. It's called El Limon Central Structure. It's made up of a couple of different zones that go over a strike length of about 2.5 kilometers. It seems like it's open along strike. It also looks like it's open, quite open, down plunge. So we see tremendous opportunity there to drill down plunge of some of the known zones and then along strike. But the transition that's happening right now is more, I believe, and we see the opportunity that more tons will be mined out of this new open pit, which B2Gold has been pre-stripping for the last number of quarters. And now we're starting to come into the ore zone, which our reserve grade is about over 4 grams for open pit. One of the highest grades in the Americas, right? So the mine's transitioning, but it was discovered in 2017. So we see very prospective, very prolific district where additional zones could be discovered at El Limon and La Libertad.
By both mines, what is the average mine of life? What they have still now on the books, I can say.
Yeah. So we did an updated reserve calculation, and at El Limon, we have 200,000 ounces at the El Limon. Okay. We have 200,000 ounces at the.
That's a service.
Like okay, yeah, our guest, our host. So this is the challenge for Calibre, but it also represents the immense opportunity. So El Limon has 300,000 ounces at roughly 4 grams between open pit and underground. So roughly 4 to 5 years in reserve life. But then there's well over 600,000-700,000 ounces of indicated and inferred resources there. And we see great exploration opportunity to start converting some of those resources to reserves. La Libertad has no reserves today, has about 170,000 ounces in indicated resources, and it has 450,000 ounces of inferred resources. So our efforts and our capital will be immediately going to drilling a number of the zones near mill zones, to hopefully convert some of those indicated and inferred resources to reserve, but additionally expand some of the resource zones that we see as opportunity right near the mill. So that will be our focus initially.
Yeah.
In addition to that, we will likely start drilling some new zones that have never been drilled right near the mine. One example is a zone called Buenos Aires, which is roughly 3 kilometers from the mill. It has over 3.5 kilometer long strike extent to it, golden soil anomalies, tested, trenched. They have fantastic widths, 15 meters of 2 grams, 10 meters of 1.8 grams, so over the strike length of 3.5 kilometers. So never been drilled, and this is less than 5 kilometers from the mill. We see that as a great opportunity to discover and expand resources. And in our business, one of the great value creators is discovery.
Yeah, for sure.
Any new discovery, whether it be never before mined area or a zone right near a mining operation, can be an incredible value opportunity for shareholders.
By Libertad, is there, when you find some new zones or new areas also close to the mining or to the mill, do you need any permitting, or is it all into this already in the mining permit included, so that you can immediately start in when you find something?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the zones that we'll be chasing near term are within mining concessions. Right?
So that's not really a big issue.
But we will be, so the one good thing here, particularly about Nicaragua, is they have a very good mining legislation. The president was born at La Libertad, the son of a miner. And what is great about this is the legislation is such that you follow the path, you get permits. So for example, for drilling, you need an EIA for drilling. So you need community consultation, which is a proper thing to do. You need environmental work just to start drilling. But it comes in time when you do the steps appropriately to get the permits. And that's just like permitting for open pit and underground mining. You do the community consultation, the environmental and sustainability work, like B2Gold have done for the last 10 years and have been awarded permits along the way. But here's an example. There's a new zone at La Libertad. This new zone is called the Javali Antenna. And B2Gold has been working away. They actually moved a small village, 22 residents, moved them off of where the mining would happen, did all the work with the communities, did a fantastic job. And when we announced this deal, that we were acquiring these 2 mines, B2 also announced, and we announced, that this new Javali Antenna, high-grade open pit zone, has been awarded as a permit to start mining. So, it just goes to show that they're very business-friendly. pro-mining district, and they're very supportive of mining when you do the steps and do it properly with the communities, with the government, and do all the steps necessary.
Coming back to you say one thing when you explain the deal. You say you have after 1 year a payment. How high is this payment to B2?
So it's an anniversary payment of $10 million US dollars. So that gives the total value of US 100 million. And from our perspective, and the consensus analysts out there say that was about 0.5 or 0.6 times net asset value at $1,250 gold.
Yeah, and this is the point. You announce this deal, and I think there's a chart in a few days or few weeks before the gold price lift off.
Yeah,
So, and we know exactly that the stock is holded since this time. So all this advantage was what you get from the gold price. Higher gold price is not in your share price.
Correct.
And now it's the very interesting thing what's happened when you restart the trading.
It's a great question.
What do you expect?
It's really hard to say. We raised the capital, and one of our big shareholders will be a 19.9 pro forma shareholder that was also a shareholder of our group before. It was Newmarket Gold that merged with Kirkland Lake Gold. And so we have a great institutional shareholder base. We have a solid but smaller retail shareholder base. Management in this round put $6.5 million into the financing. We have a total investment of $10.5 million into the company. So we're very aligned with our shareholders. B2 Gold owns 31% of the company on a pro forma basis. So the float, I think, will be fairly small. But at the end of the day, what is the share price going to do is the million-dollar question. It's going to depend, I think, on what the gold price is doing a week leading up and a week after, unfortunately. There's a lot of trading that happens. There's a lot of volatility in the marketplace these days, especially with what's going on with different countries and trade wars and what's going on from a macroeconomic landscape perspective. So it's hard to say. I do think that we very well likely start to trade closer to our peer average. And I think that's going to take some time. It's going to take us forecasting and us as a team integrating, being focused, and executing on the operations. But I think in time there's a tremendous re-rate potential here for Calibre trading at 1/5 of the value on an enterprise value to ounce of production to our peers. So I think as we execute, assuming the gold price stays in this range, we should start to re-rate towards our peer average.
Do you want to force then B2 Gold to convert the convertible debenture?
Well, I mean, that's going to be a decision that we have in the future.
If this happened, if we
get into that, it's a 10-day volume-weighted average at 81 cents. So,
and this is really close to the holding. So
correct. Correct. I think that's going to be if we can execute properly, which I assume we will. B, I think that additionally to start re-rating, we'll have some exploration success along the way and exploration results news regularly. The question was, will we convert? Will we force convert? I think it would be in the company's best interest to not have additional debt. I mean, let's call it debt. It's a convertible debenture, but it's a small 2% yield. Yep. So if we could convert that would be excellent, I think, for the company. And it gives B2 additional upside on the equity. So they would, I think, they go from 30 to 31% up to 34 or 35%. And then it just alleviates that additional cash outlay that would potentially happen. So we would have the additional cash to optimize and add value through the drill bit with the additional capital.
Ryan, thank you for the introduction of a new company. It's not a new company, but
right.
It's
essentially transformed us.
It's transformed. I think it's really interesting how the share price looks like when you're coming back to trading. Then you see by a lot of other companies they take 100-200% lift off since the share price gold price broken out at the 1380.
True.
So we will see.
We will see.
Update bzw. Neuvorstellung von Calibre Mining. Die haben ja einen Deal mit B2Gold. Er wird auch sehr stark in Deutschland ja auch besprochen. Also sie kaufen 2 Minen von B2Gold. Kaufen ist relativ, denn B2Gold wird auch gleichzeitig der größte Aktionär mit 31%. Haben dann auch noch Convertible Debenture drauf, könnte dann bis 34-35% sein. Der Punkt, was wirklich spannend ist, wenn man sich die 2 Minen anschauen, die eine Mine hat ein sehr langes Minenleben noch, die andere hat eigentlich fast nicht mehr viel, aber extrem hohes Explorationspotenzial, beziehungsweise nicht die Ressourcen oder Reserven vorliegen, aber sie haben genug Indikationen, dass sie dort noch jahrelang arbeiten können. Und das ist möglicherweise ein Grund, warum dieser Deal auch stattgefunden hat. Und er hat es sehr gut erklärt, B2Gold ist mit diesen 2 Minen gestartet, aber hat dann den Fokus mehr eigentlich auf andere Bereiche gelegt und diese Minen machen jetzt eigentlich nur mehr 8% der Produktion aus und wenn man mit Analysten spricht, ungefähr 5% des Wertes von B2Gold. Deswegen ist es durchaus interessant, dass B2Gold da einen Deal macht. Wie gesagt, sind ja der größte Aktionär danach in dieser Firma, um sich 100% auf die anderen Sachen zu konzentrieren, aber es konzentriert sich auch 100% auf diese 2 Minen und Calibre hat extrem viel Erfahrung im Land und in Nicaragua und von daher macht es Sinn. Das ist eine Win-Win-Situation, wie er es selber beschrieben hat, für beide Parteien. So, jetzt kommt allerdings die ganz große Frage. Erstens einmal, der Deal wurde announced, bevor der Goldpreis gestiegen ist. So, Sie wissen selber, die ganzen Goldproduzenten sind mit diesem Announcement 50, 100, 200%, teilweise mehr gestiegen. Das Trading, dass das wieder zurückkommt, Sie machen Hochlisting auf TSX, wird so am 21. und 22. Oktober passieren, das heißt jetzt vom heutigen Tag in ungefähr 2 Wochen. Ich werde schauen, dass ich das Interview nächste Woche online kriege, also dann nur meine Woche, dass dann quasi, wie reagiert der Aktienkurs? Das ist jetzt, wie er so schön sagt, die $1 Million Frage. Am 21. und 22. wissen wir darüber Bescheid. Aber die Firma natürlich so, wie es jetzt ist und wie das im Placement drinnen waren, mit 60 Cent, könnte das ein extrem guter Deal gewesen sein. Man muss jetzt einmal schauen, wie es am Anfang natürlich das Trading passiert, die Leute, die gezeichnet haben. There was a 4-month hold period on this private placement?
There was, but it's a subscription receipt escrow.
Yeah.
So when the deal closes on October 15th, it converts to common shares and becomes freely tradable immediately.
Okay. Also die Aktien, die jetzt über die 105 Millionen, die wären dann frei handelbar. Und da bin ich dann gespannt, was natürlich dann den Leuten so passiert. Er sagt ja selber, es hängt sehr stark natürlich davon ab, was der Goldpreis genau in dieser Zeit macht. Wir werden es herausfinden, aber es ist auf jeden Fall spannend, wann dann die Company anfängt zum Traden. Da könnte sich noch immer dann natürlich auch eine interessante Chance herausbilden, weil wenn natürlich einige sagen, ich brauche Gewinnmitnahmen oder ich habe einen, dann könnte das nur ein billiger Deal werden. Jedenfalls auf die Agenda setzen, ist eine ganz spannende Gold-Story. Das war's von Calibre Mining Vancouver, Oktober 2019. Tschüss und Baba. Brian, thank you.
Thank you.